Q.
Q. The 17th letter, and only 2 films to go through today. So, if you're listening to these, apologies that yesterday's was 40 minutes long. There were a lot of P's, and we got sidetracked quite a lot, didn't we? Today's will probably be somewhat shorter than that. So we have 2 films. The first of which is a 1985 New Zealand science fiction film from my favourite science fiction subgenre, which is apocalyptic science fiction.
That's Penny and Artie.
Yeah, they're acting
This
out.
is the soundtrack.
Yeah. So this is The Quiet Earth.
Yeah.
Which is a film where a scientist wakes up one morning and finds that the project he's been working on has gone wrong, and he seems to be the last man on Earth.
We love that stuff.
It's great. And I first saw this in the early 90s, I guess. And I think I was talking to some people on Facebook earlier in the week about Movie Drome. Did you ever see anything Movie Drome-y?
I don't think so.
I think I saw this as part of Movie Drome. I'll have to have a look on the list. So Movie Drome was a long-running series on BBC Two of cult and classic films that was introduced by the director Alex Cox. And he'd, like we've been doing our watch parties, he'd go on the telly and kind of go, "Ooh, The Quiet Earth is an amazing film from New Zealand," to tell you some stuff about it, and then it would play. And he sometimes did double bills. Sometimes they were things that were like obvious, like a film and its remake or a film and its sequel. Other times he'd do a film and then something you wouldn't think of, and he'd link them together. So it was a really interesting thing, and I wish that was still on. I'm talking about it on Facebook. I didn't realise at the time that it was a long-running series. I just caught some of them, but I've got the list. There's a list of them on the internet, and there was some amazing stuff that they showed. Really quirky, and so like weird things like this that were really culty, and then things like Douglas Sirk films, like we All That Heaven Allows, like we recommended earlier in the week. So it was like kind of across the spectrum of films. So that's The Quiet Earth. Second and final film in the queues is John Ford's The Quiet Man, which is wonderful. This is from 1952, stars John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara. And amidst John Ford's long run of westerns and similar films, he released this film, which is about an American man who travels back to Ireland, to the birthplace of his family, to reclaim the family farm. And it's kind of the opposite of all those nice John Wayne, John Ford westerns where they're like black and white in Death Valley with all the rock formations and stuff. This is lush green Ireland. We talked about colour yesterday. This is a beautifully coloured film. It's sad, it's funny, it's lovely.
Okay.
I think you should add this to your watch list as well.
Well,
both cues need to go on your watch list.
I think I caught some of it when you watched it. It was quite garishly coloured, wasn't it?
Warm.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are the cues.
Yeah.
I'm going to take both of them to the desert island.
Yeah.
And leave the third one open to anyone who's listening to this who could suggest another cue to take.
Yeah.
Because
Ditto.
I can't find. It's weird, isn't it, how some letters get more represented?
Do you know what also is weird?
Go on.
That our phones are listening to us. Because yesterday on my Facebook, I got this article pop up, and it was about how on The Outsiders, it's a People article just suggested for me. Rob Lowe says Tom Cruise went ballistic over sharing a room while making The Outsiders. What's the chances?
Something going on there, isn't there?
But apparently Tom Cruise wouldn't share a room.
Oh.
With Rob Lowe.
Well, we know he's crazy.
Yeah, but this is in 1983.
He was always crazy. crazier than a shithouse rat.
Rob Lowe was very gracious about it. He was talking to Dak Shepard on a podcast.
Well,
and he said,
maybe we should check that out.
Yeah, let's check it out. He just put it down to the fact that he always knew where he wanted to end up, and he wasn't gonna.
It wasn't in a room with Rob Lowe.
Yeah, contrary to most people in 1983.
So that's it for the cues.
Okay, so questions?
Go on then.
I'm gonna hit you with a few. Right, what do you think is the best against type character in a film? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We've had some of those during this. So, Henry Fonda playing the bad guy in Once Upon a Time in the West is really good.
Yeah, that's what made me think of the question.
There you go.
So not that example.
Okay. With the other one that we talked about yesterday was, or the day before, was 1 hour photo.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
I think the ones we talked about yesterday with well, you haven't seen Uncut Gems, have you? But the character that Adam Sandler plays in Uncut Gems is very against type.
I'm going to go into Uncut Gems with an open mind.
I think you should. It's really good. It's really tense. We should take some beta blockers before it. It's really tense. It's really tense.
Mild peril or moderate?
Significant. It's less life and limb threat and more completely ruin your life through terrible decisions threat. You know, that level of peril.
Okay.
He's a gambler.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Excellent.
Who
else?
That's good. That's good. That's two. Okay. Here's the next question. This came off the back of seeing Ethan Hawke bobbing around in that film that was in French.
Can I have another one for those?
Yeah.
Charlize Theron playing Eileen Sornos in Monster.
Yeah.
And also, what's that other one where she is it young? It's young adult, isn't it? Where she plays like the schlubby, like washed up writer. Charlize Theron's really good at doing like films where she looks like a glamorous Uber Amazon, or where she looks really plain and ordinary.
Yeah.
She's very good at.
She's an actress.
Well, yeah. But physically, she's able to not look like herself.
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Props to her. Okay. Best English character, or I guess not English, but best English-speaking person that we know in a foreign language film. That's a crude question.
I know what you mean.
Like, seeing Ethan Hawke pop up in a French film was kind of like, oh.
Well, it was a Japanese film.
Well, was it though?
Japanese crew, Japanese director.
Oh, okay.
But mainly French language.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who, like, pops out for you in a film that you think, oh, wouldn't expect to see you in that language?
Juliette Binoche, not Juliette Binoche. What's her name? I keep muddling the two of them up. Kristen Scott-Thomas.
Kristen Scott Thomas.
Who's in French films a lot, isn't she?
Well, she lives in France, doesn't she?
But I still think of her as
The French husband.
I still think of her as like Richard Curtis.
Yeah.
Very jolly hockey sticks English.
Like Charlotte Rampling.
Yeah, but she's almost become a British, she's a French actress somehow.
Yeah.
Also.
Okay, so next question. You want another question?
Go on then.
What do you think is the best closing song on a film?
Best closing song?
Yeah.
Over the credits or at the end of the film?
Over the credits.
Ooh. Oh, I don't know.
You can come back to me on that.
I don't know.
Okay, related to that, what do you think is the best extra scene at the end of a film?
Posts after the film.
Yeah, like an extra scene.
I do like the Ferris Bueller. The fact that isn't it it's the first one where that thing happens properly. We get right to the very end of the film, post everything, and then like Marvel credit, like where the Marvel ones are.
Yeah.
And he just pops up and says, "Why are you still here?"
Yeah.
That's it.
That's good. I like the outtakes in Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yes.
As well.
I love an outtake over a credit.
Yeah.
Things like Cannonball Run and stuff, where it's like Don DeLuise being silly.
Yeah. Your next question. Films that would end in 5 minutes now because of technology.
Oh man, all of them. Yeah, I love.
That's a thinker. Come back to me on that tomorrow. Yeah.
Lord of the Rings for starters, because you just get a helicopter to the ring of the fiery pit in Mordor and drop the ring in from a great height.
Yeah.
Done. In fact, there's that whole discussion about the fact that it should have happened anyway, because there are massive eagles that fly them around. Why didn't they just get on an eagle and go there straight away?
Yeah.
Instead of walking for 9 hours on film.
Fools.
I mean, you'd lose a lot of great storytelling and incredible soundtrack. But
okay, best book that hasn't been turned into a film.
Holy shit! Well, I know that one, but I don't want to give the answer away because I want to option it and make a screenplay out of it.
You're not going to do that.
Lives of the Monster Dogs, which is in has been optioned, I think, already. You haven't read that, have you?
Not yet.
Lives of the Monster Dogs.
I'm living Lives of the Monster Dogs, dude.
Lives of the Monster Dogs is a science fiction novel about somewhere in North America, out of the wilderness, the snowy wilderness, walks a dog on its hind legs that has mechanical prosthetic feet and prosthetic hands with proper opposable thumbs. Like, it has its hands replaced with robotic hands, and it walks on its hind legs and has a voice box so it can speak.
Yeah.
And it turns out there's a whole village full of them where a crazy, like, ex-Nazi scientist was breeding dogs and then mechanically enhancing them. And it's got that really great sort of thread of, like, everyone thinks it's amazing, these dogs are here, they're wonderful, they're amazing. And some people don't trust the fact that they're just dogs, they could bite your face off. But they kind of get these perfectly timed squeak from the bitey dog. They become part of society. They have.
Don't spoil the whole plot.
It's brilliant, and I've read it 3 or 4 times, and every time I read it, I can picture it. And it's one of those things where, at the first time I read it, it was like you couldn't do it because you'd need to have photorealistic dogs to make it work.
What about if Wes Anderson did it?
As a claymation, like an animation, that would work. But I think also now you could probably do the fur well enough that you could make them really terrifyingly real.
Tweet some people. Get it going.
I spoke to the author on Twitter about 3 years ago to ask if anyone was making a film of it. And she said it was in talks to be made into a TV series, but that has not happened yet.
Right.
The Beetle is the other one.
Yeah.
Although that's a cheat of an answer because it has been made into a film, it's just the film doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
So The Beetle is a horror novel that came out about the same time as Dracula, and in fact was a bigger seller than Dracula. And it's about an ancient Egyptian demon, scarab beetle demon. And that, again, I read the novel and could see it as a film. I don't know how you do some of it, but it would be amazing. And it's really creepy. It's got a great, like, folk horror-y tinge to it. And there was a film made in about 1915, 16, so like quite early silent film, and it's one of the lost films. I'd love to see what they did to make that. It's a brilliant story, though. So there's 2.
Great.
And I know, and there's another one that I want to make a film out of as well. I can make a trilogy of amazing science fiction horror films. I don't know, but there is a novel. There's not a novel. There's a factual book about the haunted submarine in World War One, where there was an explosion on the submarine. A load of the crew were killed. The captain was killed, and then that submarine was seen on a number of occasions with a ghostly figure standing on the bridge, even though there wasn't meant to be a submarine in that area at the time. Other sub-crews saw it, and the actual submarine is off the coast of the Scilly Isles, somewhere down there. The actual submarine's on the seabed, and I looked into what level of scuba diving qualification I'd need to be able to go and dive to it, but you have to be like full-on professional.
What is your mind?
It's in very deep water, but I wanted to make a ghost story about that. With
how many Wikipedia holes do you need to fall into to get there?
One. A deep one. But yeah, there's my trilogy. If anyone would like to fund Snowcat Productions to make 3 horror films based on those 3 things, then please get in touch.
Yeah.
Hello. The dog's here. Is that it for today?
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for continuing to listen. And a shout out to Leighton on Twitter because we had a conversation the other day about films that he'd helped to film and his film that he directed, which is now on my watch list. It's on Amazon Prime. And I've just rented Calm with Horses, which he also worked on. So that came out this week, and I'm going to watch it this week and see how.
Where did it come out on?
It's on everywhere. It's on Curzon Home Cinema. It's on Apple. It's on Amazon.
Calm with Horses.
Calm with Horses.
Okay.
Looks great.
Just give it a
So
go.
that's today's recommendation of something new that's come out that's linked to somebody who follows us on Twitter.
Okay, Leighton.
So that's it for today.
Thank you.
Short and sweet. Thank you. We're going to go and have some dinner now and try and calm these dogs down.
Well, they're calm now because they know it's over.
Yeah, they don't like it, do they?